Hello, I'm Peter Schreier, and I would like to thank you, our students and members, for being with us tonight for this virtual opening for our Emerge exhibition in the Showalter Youth Community Gallery on the Crealdé campus. I'm speaking to you both as the Crealdé Executive Director and also as the Acting Manager for Photography Program. We have a beautiful exhibit that's opening tonight, and I want to tell you a little bit about the 3 programs the students are part of that have produced the work for this exhibition. The largest body of work is from a group of people that we call our fellowship students. That program has been a Crealdé mainstay since 1978. The second part of the exhibition consists of artists that are part of the Studio Artist Program, which has been with us since 1996. And then we also have a very special person that each year receives the Cheryl Bogdanowitsch Sculpture Scholarship, and the recipient for 2019 has work that's part of this exhibition. The Emerging Artist Program at Crealdé is a very important part of our organization because it's an opportunity to train new artists from the community, having them mentored by our professional and talented faculty, and to produce work in the studios here at the school. The work that you see on display has all been produced in the classrooms and studios here on the Crealdé main campus. The typical emerging artist is involved for a period of about 2 years, sometimes a little bit longer. And in return for the free education that they receive, they have to do certain volunteer work for us. They help us promote the school, they work the events and the festivals and so forth in the community. So it's very much of a wonderful, mutually benefiting two-way street. One of the benefits that these artists have, they have what we sometimes call the key to the kingdom. They have key to the studio, and they can have almost unlimited access 7 days a week to come and produce work here. Over the years and decades that Crealdé has had a fellowship program and a studio artist program, literally hundreds of students of all backgrounds and all ages have gone and benefited from it. Many of them are now working as professional working artists in the community, and others have even been asked to join the faculty here at Crealdé. So it is quite special to be here tonight and see another such group of talented emerging artists. Who knows where they're going to be a year or 10 years from now. Every year we do an exhibition that honors their work. This year we're featuring the work of our photography fellows and studio artists, as well as the artists that work in the ceramics and in the sculpture program. Next year we'll be showcasing the painting and drawing students.
I'm Vincent Sansone, head of the ceramics department, and I'd like to talk to you about Miriam Levy's work. She's the head of the fellowship department in ceramics. She's got a nice slab-built piece. This was a piece that she had a lot of trouble with getting the lid to fit in clay, since it shrinks and warps as it dries, and then when it's fired it will actually move even more in the kiln. Because of the way that it was made, it had a tendency to become unsquared. So after she had made it, she spent a lot of time, because it's a very nice looking piece. She wanted to make sure that it fit perfectly. The work is very painterly, and you'll see one of her paintings, which will also give you more of an idea of the way that she likes to paint. This is also Miriam's piece, a very sculptural looking piece that has a lot of detail in the way that it's built. This is a more traditionally glazed piece, a very unusual design that she spent a lot of time working on. It's very textural, has a nice feel to it, a lot of movement in the way that the slab construction seems to be like a stairway. Here's another piece of Miriam's work. It's a slab construction again. A beautifully designed piece, nice curves, nice arc. in the base of the piece. And this was from a design class where we had to use at least 2 or 3 different materials. A little bit of copper wire, but most of this is glass. She always does a lovely job with her glazing. It has very nice lines and very strong piece. Actually, I think that I would like to see it quite large. If sometime in the future she might try a larger piece. This is Miriam's painting, and you see the energy in this, and with the similar energy of the painting on her slab constructed jar. This is a lot of movement, a lot of energy, and a nice palette of blues and purples. I think that I would like to see more of her painting on her work in clay.
Hi, I'm Lynn Warnicke, and I am the studio artist in the ceramics department, and I'm going to talk about my work. But first, before I talk about my work, I'm going to finish talking about the fellowship students' work in our department by talking about Jaime Ferguson's work. Jaime Ferguson is a fellowship student, and she is a traditional potter in the sense that she mostly does wheel work. She does very little hand building work. But this is a gorgeous little piece that she fired in a raku firing we recently had. So this would be considered a low fire, alternative type firing. We don't do it very often, but boy, if you can get results like this, I mean, this is a gorgeous piece. It made me just want to touch it. This is another piece from Jaime Ferguson, and this is also considered an alternative type firing. Jaime's always experimenting with different ways to fire, which is really exciting. And this one was fired in what is called a sagger, which means a container that goes around this to protect it. And it's really very, very soft. It's a really beautiful piece. It looks ancient. It looks like an old Indian artifact. And she's used wire here to give a little bit of a design, but it's a really nice piece. This also is Jaime Ferguson's. It's a photograph, and it's really very nice. It's got a composition to it that I don't even know exactly what it is. Is it a door? Is it a piece of wood? But it's really nice, and it's got some beautiful color. And the way that she's framed it in a frame that says something too, I think it really goes together really well. And it also brings up something that I'm always interested in. When there is an art show, I love to see 2D and 3D mixed together. And this shows, here's a piece of mine that I'll talk about in a moment, but this shows how putting something together next to something can enhance both of the pieces. So this is a piece that I made that's a hand build. I mostly do hand build work, and I mostly do mixed media work that involves metal and wood. But this one is totally ceramic. The name of it is Do You Like My Party Dress? It's just kind of a festive, you could use it as a vase if you wanted, but it's really a piece that, to me, lets me experiment with all the different types of surfaces I like to look at in a ceramics piece, in my ceramics piece. This is a piece of mine that is hand-built with a Nigerian technique that I learned at Penland School of Art this past summer, and it's a very traditional method of hand building. Rather than fire this traditionally, I fired it in a cone 6 firing with underglazes. Characteristic to a lot of my work, I put it on metal, there's metal involved in wood, and I like to use car parts, and these happen to be from a car. But I really like the way this turned out because to me it shows a traditional older look in the way that it's built, but yet the surface is a little more me. Last piece of my work that's in the show, and this piece is something more like what I traditionally do. This is hand built in a form, just really turned out well as far as I'm concerned because of the way it was fired in the gas reduction kiln. It was kind of lying on its side, so the glaze inside moved, and I was just very pleased with that. And I was trying to figure out a way to make a little bit of a statement piece out of it. And this is what I would traditionally do with some car gears, and I'm pleased with the way this turned out.
This is work by Eun Cho in a very traditional ceramic set for tea. I like to see traditional wheelwork. Tea is a very important ceremony in Korean culture, so I can understand why she chose to make this set. And it's a beautiful little teapot that poured like this. Everything is very precise and has a wonderful feel to it. Fits the hand nicely. It makes you want to use it. Rachel Kinbar's work. These are very interesting pieces that are tactile. There's something very meditative about the way that the work is done. You can see the time and everything is very, very precise. And you wonder how she could sit for hours to make these tiny little impressions. But you can just imagine how you can be lost in the process of making. You want to hold the piece and feel the energy of it. They're lovely pieces.
My name is David Comey, and I run the sculpture program here. Started teaching in 1980 and kind of made my whole sculpting career here. Since I started working here, we developed a bronze foundry, we did the welding, and then most recently we started blacksmithing. This is a sculpture by Lichtenberger. This is one of the first projects that we made in my welding class that was sculpted in aluminum, which is a new type of welding I'm trying to bring into the program. This piece is called Abstract Mountain. It's fabricated using a TIG machine, TIG welding machine. And the surface is a brushed aluminum. You can see the way the light's playing on it. See that it's brushed, it's not polished. He also has a piece by the lake. It's called Dance, and it's a new installation we're doing for the sculpture garden here. It's also fabricated out of steel, but it's powder coated with a special treatment of treating the metal. So you bake on aluminum powder, and then you enamel over it. It's usually good for 15 or 20 years. So it's going to be around for a while. It's going to be a beautiful addition to our sculpture garden by the lake. This is a piece by Shaun Cook. He is presently a fellowship student, but he was also a Cheryl Bogdanowitsch scholarship student the year before. Shaun's been working on a way of creating ultra-light concrete castings and sculpture. He's developed this little pump machine that creates this real dense foam and mixes it with dry powdered cement, and he pours it into these molds. And this piece, we poured it in and put balloons in it to create these negative spaces. And then after the concrete set up, it would burst with balloons, create these forms. He likes using a lot of texture next to smoother, refined areas. He's got quite a series going on right now. He's got a big wall piece and then some pieces that are multimedia using steel, concrete. Yeah, this is a part of a series Shaun's doing about orbs, and he's got quite a few of them. He mixes dye with these materials. He also goes back and stains the surfaces and models the color a little bit, changing the value of the color. He's got some interesting ways of mounting things. This one's mounted on a porcelain stand. Some of his other work is mounted on steel or the wall. This piece is by an artist named Devyn. He's really got into metalwork recently as a studio artist resident here. He's also an apprentice in blacksmithing. This piece is made out of mild steel, and the name of it is a heavy metal bass guitar. Devyn's also into music and playing guitar, so I thought it was appropriate given a musical instrument. This piece is titled Crow Medicine, and it's by Lynn Brenner-Katz. She's head of the fellowship program in my class, and was all the fellows, but she's also been a fellow and she's been a scholarship recipient. This piece is a multimedia sculpture. Started out with this clay piece here, the figure, and the crow. Now I've welded a composition together and brought in some found objects, created this composition. Got wood, ceramics, steel, aluminum, and you have leather and beads. This is another sculpture by Lynn Brenner-Katz. It's called Old Geezer, Old Squeezer. And when I was a very young kid, we had one of these on the back porch of our house, and we're running laundry through to squeeze the liquid out of it. I thought it was a very clever application, and she turned it into a face. This was part of our welding class that I taught, and I keep a big pile of metal in the back that people kind of fish through and create compositions with in the class, and then bring in their own things. These are magnets for welding. This was originally a rusted piece. She went in and painted certain parts in it, which really adds to the contrast and I think creates much better composition. This is a drawing by Jason Gillespie, and the name of the piece is called Organic. Jason has a book full of drawings that are concepts for sculptures that he builds. And he decided he would enter a concept drawing of his work. This is a pencil drawing. Jason is a Cheryl Bogdanowitsch scholarship recipient. This is a piece by Gladiola, Sotomayor, and it's called Mother Earth. This piece was originally sculpted in plastilina clay, an oil-based clay, and then a mold was made, and then we took a wax copy from the mold. This was originally made to be cast in bronze, and we did cast the bronze, but she didn't have enough time to finish it for the show. Still working on it. So eventually this piece will be in bronze, but I kind of like it in just plain wax. I think it's got a really interesting look to it. There's a brown victory wax, and then there's a red French wax, and then there's a tan wax, and it creates a really nice contrast for interesting composition. It's going to probably eventually cast this one also. Right now she's trying to finish the bronze.
So my name is Mila Bell, and I am a sculpture fellow. I'm on Team Cody. This is one of my pieces. I call it Katie, the Fiddler of Brasstown. So this is just a ceramic piece. It was a study I did of a figure, done from a live model while I was in Brasstown assisting David as a teacher in a weekend workshop. So we were teaching people how to sculpt the figure around. I kind of just jumped in and did a piece for myself on one of those days. I liked adding some texture to it. I made up this kind of frill piece. She didn't have that on. She was fully clothed, but I did kind of just add form to it. And she was a real character. She has a great personality, and she is a fiddler, young lady in Brasstown, and her twin sister are really fun, awesome musicians, so the Presley girls. I don't usually do figurative work necessarily, but I enjoy keeping up my skills. So this piece is called Forest Spirit, and I made this to really honor nature. I'll talk about the process a little. It began with these antlers, which are made out of just cold, mild steel. And I started blacksmithing out the ends and forging them out, so I pounded those out by hand. And I really thought it would be so much easier to do as an organic shape, and I was so wrong. These antlers themselves were a huge learning process, which is something that when you're exploring different materials and different techniques, that you just have to kind of have patience for allowing the learning process to occur. So another kind of point of contention for me is to join materials together. So this is a big I guess you could call it a milestone piece for me because I joined metal with my beloved clay, which I love making ceramics, and a little bit of wood and paint. I make a lot of these different kinds of symbols and totems in flat metal, and my intention here was to like bring some of my things together and not be such a two-dimensional 3D artist, and bring together all the things that I've been working on. I really love to build things and have that really tactile nature of clay and metal. You can see I have this symbol here that I created and then mirrored here. I like to create symbols and create art in honor of these kind of very personal, divine experiences with nature. I hope you enjoyed it.
We're looking at two beautiful traditional black and white photographs expertly printed by Laura McBride in the Crealdé darkroom. There are black and white silver prints made with a film camera that she actually inherited from her late father. So there's a very special relationship through her photography, to her family, and also to these locations which are in Kentucky, which is near the area where she spent her childhood. Laura likes to photograph places that tell us something about the past, that are sort of full of stories about what could have been there and what is there now. Places that it kind of seems like time has stood still. Next, we're looking at another fellowship student's work. Her name is LAURIE HASAN. She's been with us for about a year in the program, and she is more an experimental photographer. She often combines different techniques from the history of photography into creating some very, very unique pieces. When you first look at these, you might think this is something that was maybe in a computer via digital technology manipulated to have that look, but it's actually the furthest from the truth. She shot these photographs while she was in New York last year, and with a twin lens reflex camera from the 1960s using 120 square film. She processed the film here at Crealdé and then made these very special prints using chemistry and using a special photographic paper made in Germany that she hand painted the developer onto the paper after it was exposed. And that's why it has that special look. Then after she dried and pressed the prints, she hand colored them with Marshall oils. And I asked her about the subject matters there. They're both in the New York area. I think one is Central Park, so the iconic bridge, and this is at the cloisters in New York City. And she said she looked at these iconic places that were sort of romantic places that she's seen a lot of photographs of, and she wanted to do something different and really kind of convey that romantic feeling that those places sort of expressed to her.
Hi, my name is Kristen Gillen. I am the Photography Fellowship Manager, and I have two photos in this exhibit. Both were processed using the darkroom here at Crealdé, and both were shot on a film camera using medium format film. I have one photograph that was taken in Boston, and that was taken in December of this year while I was visiting. And it's an urban landscape. It actually shows an urban farming facility at Fenway Park in Boston. The other photo is of a covered bridge in New Hampshire, which I took over the summer. I really liked the architectural aspect of the bridge, and it was the wood combined with the metal that really attracted me to this photograph. A lot of what I do focuses on kind of urban landscapes. I do a lot of architectural photography and really enjoy working in black and white film. I think all the photographers in the program enjoy spending a lot of hours in our darkroom here. A lot of people ask about our process and how we still work with film, and we actually have a lot of places locally that we're still able to get film. We work with different size films, different types of papers, and the darkroom here has been really awesome for that, and it's proved by all the work that the artists have shown here tonight at the exhibit.
The next artist whose work we're looking at is a brand new 2020 studio artist, and her name is NATALIE. She has an association with Crealdé for a number of years. She came to the fellowship program She has worked in a couple of the master programs we've done involving documentary photography, looking at communities in Central Florida. These are two new pieces. She's a digital photographer, even so the work is black and white. They have a digital background. And she's done a lot of different work through the years, from documentary to portrait to travel. And currently her interest is in the nature photography arena. She's a beautiful image from Cedar Key, a botanical photograph. And the one that really made me sort of chuckle, because I think it's always interesting to see when you see photographers or people taking photographs portrayed in a photograph another photographer made. It looks like two people enjoying the great outdoors with their bicycles, and now one is posing for the other one to be captured with the ever-present iPhone. The last two photographs I would like to highlight are by Cynthia Slaughter. Cynthia has been a studio artist at Crealdé for 2018 and 2019, and she's actually working on the preparations for a solo exhibition that Crealdé is holding for her at the Hannibal Square Heritage Center this fall. And these two images that are here are going to be part of that larger body of work, the documentary she has been working on for about a year about her mother, who is 94 years old. Her name is Edna Pearl Butler, and she has been a resident of Sanford since 1950. She's originally from Georgia and came to do farm labor in Florida. She worked in those famous celery fields in the Sanford area, which are now only still exist in the memory of people who have lived in Sanford for a long time. So Cynthia started out as a portrait photographer, and she said it's through her work in the master classes at Crealdé in documentary photography. She worked on 3 projects with us, including one on Lake Opera and the other one on St. Augustine when that city turned 450 years old. It's through the work on those projects, Cynthia said, she really found her calling in photography, not in general, but in documentary photography specifically. And I've encouraged her to work on this project with her mom, and it is, I think it's the best work that she has done. And she's done other wonderful work before. She's basically following her 94-year-old mother in her daily life routine, going to church and doing volunteer work and interacting with her neighbors, to do all the things that is the dream for all of us we can still do when we are at the age of Edna Pearl.